Imagine two people. Both earn the same salary, both live in the same city, and both start their careers at exactly the same time. 20 years later, their lives look completely different. One of them is financially calm. Bills are paid on time, money is quietly invested in the background. When something unexpected happens, it's annoying but manageable. The other person lives under constant pressure. Credit cards are close to their limits. Every unexpected expense feels like a financial emergency waiting to explode.
What's strange is that neither of them became a billionaire. Neither invented a successful startup. Neither made a risky investment that paid off overnight. Neither won the lottery. The difference came down to something far less dramatic. A handful of quiet, almost boring rules about money. Rules that look small. Rules that most people ignore. Rules that rarely get attention. And yet, those rules quietly determine who becomes financially stable and who spends decades running in place. Because financial stability usually isn't destroyed by one dramatic mistake.
It doesn't collapse overnight. Instead, it slowly erodes through everyday decisions. Tiny upgrades, convenient subscriptions, a slightly nicer apartment, a slightly more expensive car. Each decision feels harmless on its own. None of them look dangerous. But together, they build a financial structure where your income has to work harder every year just to keep your life from falling apart. Which is why many of the most financially stable people in the world follow something surprisingly simple. Minimalist money rules. Not extreme frugality, not living like a monk, not eliminating every comfort from life. Just a small set of constraints that prevent your financial system from quietly breaking over time. And the first rule begins with a truth that sounds obvious until you actually try to live by it. Spend less than you earn. Always. It sounds almost insulting in its simplicity. Everyone already knows it. And yet very few people consistently follow it. It doesn't collapse overnight. Instead, it slowly erodes through everyday decisions. Tiny upgrades, convenient subscriptions, a slightly nicer apartment, a slightly more expensive car. Each decision feels harmless on its own. None of them look dangerous, but together they build a financial structure where your income has to work harder every year just to keep your life from falling apart.
Because when you look closely at modern economies, something interesting appears. Most systems are quietly designed to make this rule extremely difficult. Credit cards allow you to spend tomorrow's income today. Loans normalize buying things years before you can truly afford them. Advertising constantly reframes luxury as necessity. A phone upgrade becomes staying current. A larger house becomes investing in your family. A new car becomes treating yourself for working hard. The language changes, but the math doesn't. And slowly, almost invisibly, your spending rises to match your maximum income. Economists have a name for this pattern: lifestyle inflation. The moment your income rises, your lifestyle expands to absorb it, which means something surprising happens. Your financial position doesn't actually improve. Your life simply becomes more expensive to maintain. Minimalist money thinking flips that pattern. Instead of upgrading life every time income rises, the rule becomes simple: increase your gap. The gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap is the real engine of financial stability. It funds savings. It absorbs emergencies. It creates investment capital. Without that gap, everything becomes fragile. And that leads to the second rule: build a boring safety buffer. Not an exciting investment portfolio, not a high-risk opportunity, just cash. 3 to 6 months of living expenses sitting quietly in the background, doing nothing impressive. It's probably the least glamorous part of personal finance, which is exactly why it's so powerful. Because most financial disasters aren't caused by bad investing. They're caused by bad timing. A job loss, a medical bill, a broken car, a sudden rent increase. None of these events are unusual, but without a financial buffer, they trigger a chain reaction. Savings get drained, credit cards get used, interest begins to accumulate.
And suddenly a small shock turns into long-term debt. But when a buffer exists, the story looks completely different. The same emergency happens, but instead of panic, there's time. Time to think, time to adjust, time to make rational decisions instead of desperate ones. Financial stability isn't about avoiding problems. Problems are inevitable. Financial stability is about surviving those problems without collapsing. Which brings us to the third rule.
Own fewer financial obligations. Not fewer possessions, fewer obligations. Because every financial obligation quietly locks your future income into past decisions. Car loans, phone contracts, stacks of monthly subscriptions, installment payments on things you barely remember buying. Each one seems small, almost insignificant, but together they create a rigid financial structure where most of your future paycheck is already spoken for before you even earn it.